Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday morning. Glad that you're here. If you're here for the first time, my name's Tyler. I'm going to be helping navigate us through the wild world of futures and all-time highs, because I tell you what, all-time highs are all-time highs, if you know what I'm saying. We're going to have a great day today. I'm glad that you're here. Stick around, hit the like button, subscribe, ask questions if you have any. We're going to have a good time. We're going to open up with prayer, and then we are going to get started. So, Father, we just honor you this morning. Thank you for your goodness and your faithfulness. Thank you that you are true. Father, thank you that you are just. I thank you, Father, that you know the plans that you have for us, and they are of a hope and a future. I pray for everyone here that they would be blessed with everything they set their hands to, that they would see increase in their walk with you, increase in their finances with you. Father, that you would bless us richly so that we can be generous on every occasion. Father, I pray a blessing over today, that you would guard our hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. And everyone in the chat said, amen. Amen, amen. Also, if you want to take your trading to the next level, you can use the codes DTJ, which you'll see on the top and bottom of your screen, to get a eval account, whether it's Apex, Take Profit Trader, My Funded Futures, Funded Next Futures, Bullinox, Tradeify. I think those are all the ones. If you have any questions on them, feel free to ask. I'm happy to answer them for you. Let's go ahead and we will take a look at the charts, and then, as you saw on the title of this live stream, there is a confession. There's a confession that needs to be made. I'm going to share that confession with you here. I love the marketing aspect of YouTube. Everything has to be so intense. What is it? Unfortunately, that's how this space is. You got to grab your attention type titles. Anyway, we're going to take a look at the market. Let's see what the market's doing. Here's our daily candles. And holy macaroni. Is that just not crazy? I've been blown away. I've been blown away on just how high we can go. How we just pushing higher and higher and higher. It is crazy. So, we're going to move our previous day high, our lines to our previous day high. There's our levels there. We should, because we are bullish here, we need to be bullish here in today's price action. We had people yesterday being like, oh yeah, the high, or Monday we had all the highs being put in. Well, I don't think so. The high has not been put in. We are another 250 points higher than Monday's high. It's just crazy. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to drop down to a little bit lower time frame. Let's look at the 4 hours, see what we have. Okay, I like the previous candle to the 2 a.m. candle, 4 hour. It closed bearish. And meaning we could potentially look for a reversal here. We have to be careful. I have to be careful because we're at all-time highs, and I have not been a good steward of my words. That's part of the confession. I'll share that here in a little bit. Let's go ahead and mark our levels here. It's a 4 hour. And this is a 4 hour. Oh, let me drop my face down. There we go. How's that? That's probably better, huh? I'm sure it is. all set up there. Okay, dropping down to the hourly. So we have a 4-hour high here. We have the 4 a.m. high. So this is our London high. And we have our London low sitting right here at 5 a.m. I don't think that's, is that? No, this is not our London low. I don't think that is. Let's go to the 15-minute chart. Yeah, that's 5:45. That's past our time. London low was 5, and it was right here, and we ran it. So we're going to delete that. We have Asia lows over here, and that's also midnight open. Midnight opens here. And then we have Asia lows there. We will mark those. So yesterday, look at what happened yesterday. Okay. Bullish, had one retracement. Bullish, and then at the end of day, we have a second retracement. No retracements other than at the opening bell and the closing bell. Yeah. All right, so no fair value gaps unmitigated here. We got a 15-minute sitting down here. And then let's mark our opening range gap. And then we do have a bit of a gap here for our new day opening gap. We're going to go ahead and mark that as well. Right there, you can see those levels. Our new day opening with that's a new day opening gap from the close of yesterday to the opening of today. So we do have a gap there that is looking nice. I am not going to be able to be here during FOMC. I won't be able to trade simply because I have to take my mother to the airport. So, I mean, what do we do this for? We trade for that freedom so I can take my mom to the airport. So I will not be in the charts for the opening bell. We're going to see if we can get anything prior to that here. All right, so bias. What is my bias for today? Step one is identifying a bias. Our bias is bullish. It's obviously bullish. We're at all-time highs. We've had 3 green days in a row. We've had a huge new week opening gap. Our bias is bullish. Now, as far as narrative, what is the narrative? What does price want to do? What does price want to do if it's going to continue this rampage higher? What is price going to do? Well, I think we're probably going to put in a fair value gap here somewhere. I think it's going to put in some type of fair value gap. If it does that, we are limited on our down on the to the downside. Now we could still potentially move 175 points if we want to go back to the midpoint of yesterday's range. So there's definitely a range to the downside, but I do think we're going to put in some type of fair value gap. If that's the case, then we got to look at where would our opportunities. Anything above equilibrium is probably my area of interest if we're going to see lower prices. And I do think we could see somewhat of a retracement until FOMC. I don't see any reason to continue higher prior to FOMC, so I'm probably more of a bear today for lower prices than I am for bullish. Now, the confession, and we'll go back into it here later, is I blew a majority of my accounts yesterday. They did me good. I had several payouts from them, but those accounts are now closed. I went on tilt yesterday looking for the retracement because I'm like, there's no way we can continue going higher. And we continue to go higher. And I blew a few accounts yesterday, unfortunately. So we are going to play it safe today. We're going to make sure our mindset's right. And our daily affirmation is to help support that idea. And we're going to be focusing on trading only evals today. I'm not going to do any funded accounts. I'm not going to do any personal accounts. I'm just going to make sure I'm refocused, realigned. And it's been a while since that's happened, but it's kind of humbling. It can happen. It can happen. All right, we got 1 minute. We'll talk about that more later. All right, for those that, I'm sorry, I was doing something at the moment, but I was going to say I'm not interested in the 930 model. Glad I didn't do anything with the 930 model. Two factors that took my attention for the 930 model. One, all-time highs. Number two, sweep of liquidity right here. That was the two factors. Now, we did just sweep this level right here, so pay attention. That is a buy-side sweep. Let's go to a 15-minute time frame and see what that was. What time was that? That was 8:15. So if we go to the hourly, you'll see we swept that high right there. Okay. So now I want to see, was that a sweep right at 9:30 to drop lower? Or are we just going to push higher? So those are the things that I'm looking at right now. Because anytime right at 9:30 you see this sweep right here, it could be an indication that price wants to go. There is not a consistency rule, Tyler, with Apex. Not on their evals. What's up, Flock Social Corporate? This is TradingView. What you're seeing on the screen is TradingView. Good morning, John. So we're marking out this minor sweep of liquidity right there. That's sell side liquidity. That was swept right there. We had a minor sweep right here. So I'm paying attention to see what we're doing. So you can see on the 15-minute we swept here, 15-minute we swept there. So right now a little bit of a back and forth. Lower highs, higher lows overall. And we have a 4-hour here. We have midnight open was tagged. Look at that tag on midnight open at 8:30. Pretty decent tag right there. We're going to wait for... let's see, what was I? Yeah, if I was streaming, the chart would have kept me honest, 100%. 100% BC. There is an advantage to my live streams, and I have appreciated my live streams for that very fact. But hopefully, lesson learned. So today we're taking it slow. I'm only going to be trading some evals today. I'm not going to be trading personal account or a funded account. Since yesterday, for those that didn't hear, I blew some of my funded accounts. They were good to me. They paid me good, but they are now closed. Yes, John, you joined a little bit late. Why? I blew those accounts, no matter. I went on tilt. I tilted. Okay, resweep of that high a little bit further. It's not a single fair value gap here yet since the opening price. Let's go ahead and mark 930 here. Some gossip material. Oh, yeah. It's okay. It's okay. Sometimes I feel like it needs to happen to bring you back to reality. To bring you back to the reality that it's protecting your account first more than it is about profits. I mean, raise your hand if you're with me. Anytime you have a loss, doesn't it feel like you're taking a step backwards? And it's so easy to want to go on tilt. And when you've had accounts that have been paying out, and you take that step back, or you have a loss, it feels like you're taking a step backwards. And I think that got to me. And I'm like, there's no way this can continue to go higher. And I dug my heels in that price could not go higher and higher, and it did. It did. It kept going, which is just insane. Insane. 1 step forward, 10 steps backwards. Oh yeah, John. I mean, this was like 30, 40 an hour. I don't even know how long after, but it wasn't right away. It wasn't right away. That's right, MJ. I'm determined to take that lesson to heart. All right, so here is now that drop. We swept that liquidity. I like this little breaker right here. We have some sell side, previous day high. We have midnight open. $15-minute perspective. We swept liquidity here. We do have a 15-minute change in state of delivery right here, so prices are trending lower, and they did and have respected the highs so far. So as long as we don't sweep this high, I'm interested in seeing if it wants to roll over towards this 4-hour fair value gap that's sitting right down here. This 4-hour fair value gap is what I'm really interested in. But just pay attention, because if you thought that that candle was going to be a nice drop candle, I did too. But guess what the next candle did? It ate it back up. Ate it back up, my friends. What does this mean? It means sit on your hands. That's what that means. Sit on your hands. Thank you, Kay. Sharing wins is definitely easier. Sharing losses is definitely humbling. But I remember, I was just thinking about this morning. I'm like, I have to share it. Because if I don't, what am I doing? What am I portraying? What am I, like, what facade am I instilling if I can't communicate that? You know what I mean? I don't want a facade of something that's not true. You know, you think of people, Christians, like it's predominant in it's not predominant, but you've heard all the stories of pastors that, you know, they get caught doing something majorly inappropriate. You can fill in the blanks. But that started out someplace small, but they didn't disclose what the issue may have been, right? They tucked it under the rug, and over time it just gets so big that now it's like, man, this is too big to even share. I can't share. It will destroy me, right? If I avoided sharing that I blew my accounts and I pretended like nothing never happened, I'm just building something, a facade, to a point where it could get so big that, man, I can't share the truth because it could destroy me. And I'm like, there's no way I'm doing that crap. This is going to be full of transparency and honesty. So, that's so strange. It says I went from 100 viewers down to 19. That was interesting. $100% MJ. Do I think? I think it's already built into the price, Tim. So if you're looking to get in a trade prior to FOMC to see it explode higher, you'll get slapped in the face. So don't try that. Elizabeth, Mr. Tyler, how did you deal with greedy spirit while you were trading? Thank you. While I was trading, how do I deal with greed? The honest answer is I didn't deal with greed until I realized what happened when I had greed. So what normally happens is you blow your account, right? You go on tilt, you overtrade, right? So now when I have a decent day, but maybe it's not my profit target, let's say I make, $300 on an account, you'll see me do this. I'm done for today. I'm done for today. I'm going to call it a day. That comes from my past experience of knowing what happens when I don't walk in contentment. Bad things happen. I lose profit. I go back to break even. Or worse, you lose an account because it leads to revenge trading and going on tilt. So that greed can actually also keep you in front of the charts and cause you to take more trades. So I have a rule where I do not take more than 4 trades in a day. Have I followed that? Yesterday I didn't. Nope. Yesterday I ignored just about everything. But my encouragement to you is remember really the truth of what greed is. Greed is from the enemy to steal, kill, and destroy. That's really what it is. And that's really what it results in. Especially in trading. Why did I ignore everything? So it's hard to quantify that, but here's how I would quantify it. There's a point of no return. Have you heard of that phrase? Don't go past the point of no return. It's that point where you go from, I know that I'm about to go on tilt, to where you go on tilt, and then it's like you can't stop. There's this fulcrum point where it's like once you get over that peak, it's all downhill and it's hard to stop. So what happened was I went past the point of no return. And when you hit that point, it's like it doesn't matter. You know you should stop, but you don't. You know what you're doing is wrong, but you keep going. You know you shouldn't take the trade, but you just hope that it works out. It's the point of no return. So I learned about this early in my walk with the Lord, when I dealt with other sin in my life, that there's this point of no return, and being able to recognize the tactic of the enemy is being able to recognize that point at which you can't return from. Now, in Christ all things are possible, but what I'm trying to articulate there, the easiest way to avoid the blowing of your account is to never get to that point of no return. It's the easiest way to describe it. You can return from it, but it's the point at which it becomes increasingly difficult to put restraints on yourself, because it's like you throw all logic out the window. So have we gotten a single fair value gap? I don't see a single fair value gap, folks. I have electronic hours on my charts, but I only trade the New York Open. Sometimes I'll trade pre-market. But do you use the opening range gap in your analysis at all? Yes, 100%. It's a draw on liquidity. I use it as an area that price will want to fill. So everything so far has shown me that price wants to go lower. It's just in consolidation and we don't have any fair value gaps. Yeah, First Timothy chapter 6 chapter 6:6. It says, "But godliness with contentment is great gain." First Timothy 6:6. Godliness with contentment is great gain. All right, my friend. See ya. How many likes do we got? Well, we got 100 in here. Let's hit 60 and we'll do our daily affirmation. There's literally nothing happening right now. So if we can hit that super quick, we'll do our daily affirmation. Let's do our daily affirmation. Come on, I know we can get 13 here. Let's do it quick. Let's do it quick. This is what I'm talking about. Do you see how it's wicking higher, but it still hasn't ran this high? So I'm bearish. I want to play bearish moves as long as we don't run that high. That's my right here. That's kind of what I'm looking at. All right, give me one more. One more. Somebody. Just one person. How many of you hear negative thoughts in your head? Somebody removed one. Okay. There's a lot of, and I naturally am very, very optimistic. That has just been my natural bent. So I've never had to deal with what, that person that says, "Oh, I'm just a realist." I would say the person that's a realist is a realist because of the negative experiences in their life, and they've just this is how they've come to deal with those situations, right? It is not an issue of, oh, I'm just, I'm a real, the reality is bad things happen, good things happen. That's just, no, that comes from negative experiences and their way to deal with, to cope with negative things that happen. The truth is, it's a tactic of the enemy to steal God's promises in your life. Because if there's promises in the Bible that say, hey, everything you set your hands to will prosper, well, in the back of your mind, you're going, well, I'm just, I'm a realist, I'm not. It steals the promises the Lord has in the Bible. It's a tactic of the enemy to keep you from seeing God's goodness in your life. So today's affirmation is a very popular one, but for me, in light of what happened yesterday, is very relevant because our words have power. Our words have power. And I'm going to talk about an area that I've allowed my words to work against me. Proverbs 18:21. Proverbs 18:21. The life and death lie in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat of its fruits. That's what that verse says. Today, I speak life into my thoughts, my work, and my future. My words carry power, so I create with faith, not destroy with fear. Okay? Your words are either producing faith in your life or they're producing fear in your life. Because your words create. The Bible says life and death lie in the power of the tongue. Life and death. The creation of life and the destruction of a life lie in your words. You can create a dream with your words. You can kill your dream with your words. And a lot of people will use that pragmatic, not going to get too excited about the hope of something happening mentality is actually destroying something that God wants to create and fulfill in your life. Your words will either bring forth the desires of your heart in line with action, because faith produces action, right? So your words are so powerful. Now, a second confession I have today is that how many of you heard me say over and over and over again that I've struggled with trend days, continuation days? I've struggled with all-time highs. What have I been allowing my words to do? It took the Lord a minute to give me this revelation of what I was allowing. I'm going to go back to the chart here so you can see me kind of just marking this. We have our first presented fair value gap. Actually, no, we don't. It's actually earlier. We got one earlier. The Lord convicted me. The Lord convicted me. My words were not producing life in the area of continuation day, trend days, all-time highs. I've been allowing my words to prevent growth in my life by me agreeing with that I can't become successful at all-time highs. I refuse to accept that narrative anymore. You will not hear me say that again. I was convicted. I was allowing my words to limit my growth as a trader. No, it wasn't like, oh, I'm a horrible trader. Oh, I'm horrible at this. It was the agreement that I'm not good at trading trend days. It was the agreement that I'm not good at all-time highs. I'm not asking you to fake something. I'm not saying that you should be saying, oh, I'm great at all-time highs. Yeah, I'm great at all-time highs. That's like you going like this. There's no elephant in front of me. There's not a storm in front of me. I can't see a storm. You know what I mean? It's like you're covering your eyes. So that's not what I'm saying. Acknowledging where you're at, but then declaring the truth that you can overcome is what I'm saying. It can sound like this. I might be struggling with all-time highs right now, but that isn't the end of my story. I am going to address this. I am going to overcome. I am going to trade this with success. That's not ignoring the fact that you struggle in an area. It's admitting there's a weak area, but covering it with the truth that you can overcome. And I have not been doing that. I have been allowing my words to keep me. And I think part of what happened yesterday was a realignment for me to understand the power of my words in an area that, I know the power of my words. I talk about it on this channel all the time. Yet, I lost sight. And the Lord corrected me. And I'm extremely grateful for that. So, use your words, my friends. Use your words to build your future, not tear it down. Use your words to build the future that you desire in alignment with God's word. But I promise you, His desire for you is of a good hope and a future. Is that you would prosper with everything that you set your hands to. So it's going to be hard for you to dream up something that the Lord doesn't want for you. And if you struggle with that, saying, well, how do I know this is God's will for my life? That I be a successful trader, or that I might be wealthy with everything that I set our hands to? I'm going to tell you that that's the enemy trying to keep you from the blessing the Lord has from you. I'm not talking about a prosperity gospel. I'm just talking Bible. The enemy wants to steal, kill, and destroy. That's his goal. So any of those lies that are contrary to the word of God, you need to cast off. You need to reject. And you need to reject them with your words. This is an area that I'm so passionate about, and even in my passion, the Lord had to correct me because I was allowing the enemy to keep me from the blessing the Lord has for me through the agreement of my words. Take every thought captive. That's right, MJ, I do that all the time. I'll look in the mirror and I'll preach the word to myself. I'll look right into my own eyes and I'll tell myself what I need to hear. It's a powerful way. It's a very powerful way. 955 first fair value gap. No, we got a 951 as our first fair value gap. It is the smallest fair value gap you'll ever see, but it's right there. Another sweep of the highs. So I'm going to be bullish now. I'm going to look for a long. This is a full-bodied candle closing above the highs. The 4-hour is a full-bodied candle closing above the highs. I'm going to wait for it to do its retracement thing, but I'm going to look for a long. I can't go against a 4-hour close above an order block. I can't do it. So maybe a retest of 930, maybe a retest of the first presented fair value gap, maybe a retest of a 15-minute fair value gap. But no doubt, this right here is the hourly closed candle. This right here is the 4-hour candle close with a 15-minute sweep of liquidity right there and a close here. So retracements lower, I'm going to use to set up to take a long. So if it wants to go lower, all I'm waiting for is for price structure to change in this direction, and I'm looking for a long. But Tyler, it's all-time highs. I know. I blew multiple accounts yesterday because I was saying the same thing. But I'm just going to treat all-time highs as if there's more room above us. I'm going to treat all-time highs as if there's a ladder that continues to go higher. Now, there is a sweep of liquidity here. This is the only thing that I really like, though, is this is a hourly sweep. This is a 4-hour sweep, and we're seeing price drop right now. I'm not opposed to a scalp because especially when I get that 4-hour sweep of liquidity, there's the 1 hour, we'll call it a 1-hour sweep there. So that's 9:59, and then here's 10 o'clock. Sweep, sweep, and aggressive displacement. So I'm not opposed to going against the trend of higher prices, but if I'm going to go this way, it needs to be short-lived. It needs to be more of a scalp material. And you are correct. It swept London. But, I mean, London is just all-time highs, right? I mean, if you want to go long, this would be your spot to go long, right? So here's my breaker I'm interested in if I'm going to take a short, but I need confirmation that we want to continue lower. And it needs to close below this. I'm not opposed to taking a scalp here. Yeah, and that's the thing, Sony, is that I can't allow all-time highs to scare me. I have to conquer. I will conquer all-time highs. I will conquer it. Look at the hourly. We just rebalanced. We're at the order block right here. There's our close below the first presented fair value gap. We got low resistance liquidity right here. The breaker played out right there. How do I handle impatience during your trading session? I have in my book, I have a book or a sheet that I printed out for myself. It's my trading creed. And then I have these little sheets that I have that help me keep focused on the things that matter. And one of them here says patience produces better trade setups. That's it. It's just a reminder. It's just one of those things that helps remind me that I need to be patient. I like you can take I'm going to take a short here, and if it closes above this order block, I'll get out of it. I like the 10 a.m. sweep of the hourly and 4 hour. I like the displacement. I like the order. I like the breaker right here. I like the low resistance right here. So I'm going to take this small position and going to have proper risk management. We'll set it there for 15 handles. So my entry is 26,285. So we'll do at 300. It's going to be my stop. And then we're going to see if this wants to run. Okay, we swept below the 1. I don't like that green candle there. Waiting to see where this candle closes here. I want it to stay red or white or black. whatever you want to call it. I moved my stop down to the high of that because we swept these lows. We swept this low right here and wicked back up. So we have a large wick. Not necessarily, I'm going to close it. I don't like that. If anything, that's nice for a long here. But do you see how we swept that low and then we closed green? I'm not going to hold on to that. Even if it rolls in my favor, I can re-enter if it continues, but I'm not going to hold through this trade. I'm thinking survival first, profit second. I don't want to hold this and have it go all the way up here and then it rolls over. I'll just sit on my hands, wait for it to give me a clearer indication. Look how we went higher and then we come right back down as if we were just going to go like this. See that? I see this all the time in price. It's like it's slowly making its way higher right here. But instead what it does is it just throws this curveball and then comes back down and then it continues its work higher. What's my risk to reward? I'll sometimes go 1-to-1, but I prefer 1-to-2, 1-to-3. But really, I'm targeting liquidity, so I won't. It's not necessarily based on a standard risk to reward. So one trade so far, we're out at break even. I didn't like that wick on how it came back up immediately. Just not a signature in price I want to see. We might be sitting here for 30 more minutes before I do anything. It's a great question. How's the cello practice going? I have them practice. I try to have them practice every day. One of the lessons I'm teaching my children right now, I have 3 boys, 14, 11, and almost 10, is that success is a lot harder than it looks. It's so easy to think that, oh, I'm going to be great at this. We watch people on TV, they're great at this, they're great at that, but what we don't see is the amount of work and the commitment required for greatness. And it's the one area that I did not get as a child growing up from my own father. So I'm instilling it in these boys. And what that looks like right now is daily practice on the things that they care about, but also the things that I feel are important for them to continue. So practicing cello, homework, drums, trumpet, sports. Those are areas that are required for daily, habitual practice. Video games is not on that list, by the way. Video games is not on that list. Video games is a privilege. They get to play that once a week. It depends. Your question is, how long does it take to complete the course? Here's the truth. Out of all the people that have taken my course, I think less than 5% have completed it. And this is just part of human nature. Part of human nature is people will go and they'll pick the things that they want to watch, and then they think they got everything they need, and then they go on and they don't go through all the material. So if you were to watch one video a day and then you studied that material, it would take you about 2 months if you did one video a day. If you do 2 videos a day, you're cutting it down into 30 days. But if you binge watch the material, which I would say 90% of people do in any type of course material, they watch one after the other, because we're just hungry for information, yet we don't want to implement anything. We don't want to backtest. We don't want to practice our skills. We don't want to become great through the discipline of execution and actually implementing these things through practice. You can do it in 30 days. But if you want to do it the right way, CP, if you want to do it the right way, going through the course and practicing the material, it should take you 4 months, 4 to 6 months. But you could go through all the videos really quick. There's homework assignment with them. You could do that homework pretty quickly. But the problem is people go through it too fast. And they actually don't take the material as their own. You see what I'm saying? So. Yeah, Jason, screen time they get, if it's not homework related, it's only an hour a week. There's no screen time. If they want screen time, they're developing a skill. So, like for example, I'll let them make and record videos on the iPad. So they might be wrestling downstairs and they're like, Dad, can we film us wrestling? Sure. Dad, can we edit that video? Sure. Because you're developing a skill. But to watch TV, to play a video game, no. Does it make it way more difficult for us? 100%. They are asking us to do things constantly. They're constantly saying, I'm bored, I want to do something. Yeah, I get it. It's just part of the deal. Eventually, when they're in their 20s and 30s, they're going to be like, man, I'm so glad my dad did what he did. At least that's what I'm telling myself. Oops. Oh yeah, it's I mean it's something that we've done from the beginning, Ryan. So here's what I noticed is like during the summertime, we'll let them play the video game for 1 hour a day. No, excuse me, I did 30 minutes because since they were playing it, I let them play once a day for 30 minutes because there's so much time on summer break. It's just like, okay, I'm not going to be that strict of a dad that you can't have fun on summer break. But what I have noticed is going from that back to not any in a week definitely is significantly harder compared to just saying this is how we do it. It's way easier when it's part of the habit and routine, but taking it away is definitely significantly harder. But I think I can't be the dad that takes it completely away during summer break. But what they are required to do is to do all of their disciplines prior to playing the video game during summer break. So I'll tell you what, that's a big motivator on getting all their stuff done. Doing all the stuff that I want them to do. It works. Oh, I love playing video games with them too. I mean, to me, it's like I want to connect with them on that level, and I think there's a place for that, 100%. 100%. I've just had to have the intentional conversations with the boys, each of them, that I am explaining why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm telling them why I'm making them practice, why I'm not letting them play. I'll even tell them, I say, tell me one of your friends that gets to play the video game for 2 hours a day. And they'll tell me like 2 or 3 people. I'm like, let me ask you a question. If you practice your skills to get better instead of playing the video game and they play for 2 hours a day, who's going to get farther and who's going to be better at A, B, C, and D? The person that practices. You're right. So which do you think is better? Practicing. Okay. Yes, you are right. But at least they have the understanding and even reluctantly, they agree with it. So there's buy-in. And if I can get that little bit of buy-in, then I can instill good principles as they get older. Do I have any animals or farm chores? Funny you say that. Yesterday, we introduced our first animal to our house. Now, you're thinking cat, dog, goat, horse. No, No. We introduced a gerbil for my son's science experiment. He's going to monitor their physical activity based on what we're giving it to drink and eat. So, due to school, they got a little gerbil. It almost got out last night. I'm like, if this gets out, your mom is going to have a heart attack. MJ, the answer to that is no. If I was the father that let them play for 4 hours a day and then they got that skill set, and I was seeing how good they were, then I probably would say yes. I would let them do that. But the problem is I've eliminated that option altogether just by how little I've allowed them to play. So their skill set in that is not there. They don't have that developed at all because I was not in favor of developing that from the beginning. So I think that's due to just how we raised our kids. That's kind of not even an option. I wouldn't be opposed if magically, from the time that they were playing or they're allowed to play, if they started becoming really good from the small amount of time we allow them, I would probably recognize that and I would be like, okay, there's a skill set here, even with the small that you've been given. I think this could turn into something a lot bigger if we increased focused practice. We have 4 piggies and chickens. We're going to my brothers for Christmas. They live in Florida, and his wife loves animals. They have over 50 animals. Over 50. They just got a miniature cow. No, it's 100% true. 100% true. It just has to be structured and it has to be intentional. So, guys, we're having this conversation because there's nothing happening in the charts. So, that's what we're doing. So, MJ, here's what I would say. My boys have been asking me, Dad, can we go to the YMCA? We want to practice basketball. I'm like, sure. We'll go to the YMCA. They'll do their thing. Just this past week, I go into the gym and I'm looking at how they're practicing. And in my mind, I'm like, this isn't practice, but this is shooting hoops. This is casual practicing. You're going to get marginally better driving your car from home to work. You can only get so good at driving by driving from home to work every day. Pretty soon, you're going to hit a threshold of progress because you're so familiar with the route, what to expect, that most of your commutes, you're going to be zoning out and you'll find yourself be like, how did I get here? Oh, wow. I wasn't paying attention at all. You were on autopilot doing the thing. If you wanted to become a better driver, there has to be intentional practice, intentional focused effort. So I saw my kids shooting hoops and I'm like, this isn't okay. You say you want to get better. We've agreed that you want to improve in this area. Let's put together a very specific practice schedule that you can see improvement on. Right now, they are all struggling with their layups. I'm like, okay, we're going to go to the wall here. We're going to put our hands like this, and you're going to shove it into this box, this box, this box, and this box. And you're just going to go in a circle, and you're going to do that 30 times. Then you're going to do it with your left hand. Then we're going to go to the layup, and we're going to take one step back, and we're going to do a step dribble shoot. step, dribble, shoot, step, dribble, shoot. And we're going to do that 30 times. Then we're going to go to the left hand, step, dribble, shoot, step, dribble, shoot. We're going to do a layup. The difference is there's very specific action and intentional focus on improvement. So going back to the video game, the whole video game thing, if there was that and the point of it was this hand-eye coordination, then we would specifically focus on that. We would pick a game that would require hand-eye coordination in a very specific way. You know, first-person shooters, even though my wife wouldn't want that. I'm okay with it. And being intentional on practicing that. That to me is what practice looks like. It's just not playing video games. Same thing in day trading. Very specific action. That's why I think there's so much value in backtesting. That's why I think there's so much value in getting a subscription with Tradezella. If you don't have one, there's a link in the description. You get a discount. But they have a backtesting feature that is the best I've seen. And I use it. It's phenomenal. It will improve. You will see an improvement in your trading by just using Tradezella and their backtesting feature. But that's what backtesting is. Intentional practice. Intentional getting better. Sitting on your charts in front of during live markets is not improvement. It's a exercise to see if you've learned or if you can implement what you've learned. This is not the training ground. This is the let's see if I can implement what I've learned in backtesting in my practicing. Most people will only sit in front of their charts during the live market and will only say, oh yeah, I'm just getting better. I need to watch live price action. Yes, to a degree, I 100% agree. But you also need to practice seeing the same move so many times that it jumps out at you on the chart. It jumps out at you while you're sitting here. For example, if you haven't been in front of the charts enough, or like this candle right here that I got out of the trade app, you would have only learned this by watching the live market. So there is 100% value in sitting in front of the live market. When you see this happen, that candle that I got when we went short and I saw this candle close, I got out of the trade. So far, that sweep of liquidity has resulted in higher prices. Not pretty, but it's resulted in higher prices. But for me, the backtesting, the over and over and over, is being able to recognize things like this. 1 hour sweep, displacement, breaker, entry, hopefully a continuation. It swept liquidity and said, nope, that's all I wanted to get. I'm going back into the range and I'm going to make it choppy. So that's what testing does. It helps sharpen those skills. Jesus, Pablo, do they have Crocs? Yeah, they have Crocs. They have Crocs. I don't know, what kind of question is that? We were talking about sports. How does that come into the mix? Do they have Crocs? Miniature cow, making for sliders. It doesn't even produce milk. It's a boy miniature cow. They use it as the mascot for her homeschooling community. So this oh, do they have crocodiles? I'm thinking Crocs. Like, yeah, they have Crocs. What kind of question is that? No, they don't have a crocodile. They have crocodile on, they've seen crocodiles on their land, though. And they've seen right on their driveway, they saw a rattlesnake. He took his shotgun to it. Yes, we took one trade, but got out at break even. We took this short right here. This, the breaker. We got in at 10.11. The next candle ran lower, swept the low, and then closed green, and I'm like, I'm getting out. So I got out at break even. And we've just been slowly grinding higher. ES is not sharing the same direction here. ES is wanting to move lower. So I'm not opposed to, if we get into the 11 a.m. macro, to continue to look for this short. But I would need to see displacement and fair value gaps left behind. I wish my wife wouldn't let me. John, we live two blocks from our school, elementary school. And my wife wanted me to pick them up in the cold weather. We had quite a few arguments about that. I'm like, no. They go outside and play in the snow, they can walk home. They can suck it up. Do I ever watch other YouTubers? I spend probably too much time on YouTube. Yeah, I like ES for going lower here. Who got me into trading? It would have been my bruh. So I heard about it years and years and years ago, and I would try it. I'd get out. And about 5 or 6 years ago, I tried it again, and I looked into Tim Sykes, and I didn't like it, so I stopped. And then it was after that I had my dream, and I started asking the Lord for direction, that I felt like this was the direction I was supposed to go. So it was a combination of divine encounters as well as a desire to make money in the past. But it wasn't a specific person that necessarily, oh, it was because of this guy. I would, if there had to be credit to somebody, it would have been ICT on give me the confidence that I actually could become a trader. Yes, it works in the futures. It works in the Forex market. It works in stocks. All right, so as long as we get a 5-minute close on ES here in the next 2 minutes below this, I'll look for an entry on NQ to continue this move lower. A lot of low resistance liquidity there. But we've had a lot of low resistance liquidity everywhere else too, like all of that, and we never ran it. All of this, we never ran it. So just got to be careful. But with the news today, it seems more appropriate to look for lower prices. I don't use gold or the metals to determine what happening with NQ. You do that separately. All right, so we got 25 seconds. Now I'm going to look for a fair value gap for price to enter, and then that will be my entry to go short. So I'm not going to do it on an expansion. I need price to come back up into a fair value gap. All right, so there's the 15-minute close right there. It's technically still in line here. I'm anticipating that we break lower. That's how I'd want to perceive that. And if not, then we'll just have to be careful. We'll let this push higher here. So if we can get up into this fair value gap right here, I'll look at taking an entry there. All right, I'm going to take an entry right here. We'll see if it holds. So our entry was a fair value gap, retracement to equilibrium of the current displacement. We also have a breaker, high, low, higher, high, broke below it, came back up into it right there. And so now we're going to see if we can get price to start moving down to the 4-hour fair value gap down here. So trade is looking like this. Stop is there for 14 handles. Target is there approximately. Probably the previous day high. We could get some type of reaction. Midnight open, we could get that as well. We're just going to see what happens here. I really want to see us break through this area here with conviction. I don't want to see wicks down here like this, because that's a sign we could start peeking back up the other way. We have a nice shelf right here on ES. I would like to see that broken through. We're up about 20 points right here. You could take profit at 20 points. That's totally fine. The only reason why I'm not is we're still at the beginning of the macro, 11 a.m. We got 10 minutes till 11 o'clock. I'm hoping that 11 o'clock candle wants to be down here. And as long as we keep making lower lows, I'm comfortable holding. That gives you the opportunity to not take profit, but that's what we're going to do here. Yes, it's tradable for sure. You just can't trade it 1 minute before, during, and after FOMC if you're on Take Profit Trader. All right, so we got the displacement. Let's see if we can continue this aggressively. Watching at midnight open is probably a good logical place for a profit target. I'm going to take one contract off there. I have 5 contracts. I took it right at midnight open. I have to move my stop to break even here. I was waiting for this candle to close. I didn't expect it to give me a whole giant green candle. At this point, I'm not gonna take profit here. I mean, I'm gonna hope that this is just a retracement, that it falls over right here without stopping me out. The hard part about the markets right now is these pullbacks are insane, and it can create that FOMO. It can create that feeling of, I was just up and now I'm down, or I was just in profit, now I'm at break even. I'm going to try to get this back. So remember, the market's design is a psychological tool to try to get you to give more money to them. So stops at break even. I've taken one contract off. Not nearly as what I would want to see, but we're going to see if it wants to go back down. We have the displacement that we want. The displacement happened. I just don't. We have 5 minutes left. Yeah, you're coming in, Joe, and the market's crazy right now. Summer times it's more relaxed, not as volatile, but right now, and especially with Trump just has made everything significantly more volatile. I don't know what CAD is, Angel. I sure hope that it just only wanted to reach equilibrium right here, and it wants to go lower. See how we've reached this move lower, came back up to equilibrium. So I'm hoping that that's as high as it wants to go, and it wants to continue to roll over. I'll answer your question here in a second, Tyler. What's some key things we learn in the course? Do we practice charting to make them look more clean? And can we get weekly analysis on our charts to make sure we are ready? Inside the Discord, there's homework that I've given, 3 weeks of homework. Technically, you could be doing that homework every single week, and you can post it in the Discord, and I look at it. Sometimes I'll comment, sometimes I won't. The times that I do comment are areas that I feel like could be improved or something that you missed. And so that is inside the Discord that you will be doing. And it's just a matter of how much work you want to put into it. So the course material is to help give you an understanding of that. The homework is to help you do that. I think week 3 for homework is probably the most important of the homework assignments, and you should be doing that every single day you're on the charts. All right, we're 2 minutes away, 1 minute away from 9 o'clock. I'm really paying attention to how the candles are going to form here because if I have to, I will close out at this point. I think I'm going to take one more contract off. So I'm down to 3 contracts right now. Because there's always a little uncertainty with a new hourly candle. We could get a manipulation leg that just, slaps us in the face and then drops, right? So that's what we want to be careful of. Here's the hourly right there. It would be nice to see it close below this green candle here. It's going to be a big deal if we do. Nice. All right, so we did close below. Let's see if we can get a quick push lower right here. I'm going to take one more off in case we do get a retracement before we drop on the hourly. Manipulation, it goes like this. Accumulation, manipulation, distribution. If we get the manipulation that's larger than where my stop is, I want to have taken some profit that's 30 points in profit. Do you see what I mean? It makes no sense to let it go all the way back to break even when you're up 30 points. So right now we're I got 2 left. But the fact of the matter is it did close below. That's what matters. So from an hourly perspective, we swept the liquidity. These are the types of trades that I like. And we closed below. So with this being a sweep of liquidity and a close below the previous candle, we have to anticipate that this will be a continuation. Now we might get stopped out prior to the move lower, but you have to anticipate that this is going to be a bullish or a bearish move. So I'm hoping that I don't get stopped on these last 2 contracts, but I'm not going to let this go all the way back to break even and not take any profit. That recent 1 hour, give me the exact hour so I know which candle you're talking about there, Matt. And I can probably give a little more context. The close we just had, the 7 a.m. and 8 a.m., 7 a.m. This is, anything right here doesn't matter to me. 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., I don't care about any of those. What I care about was these two candles here creating a low, and the fact that we created a bullish order block by that candle, right, that close of that candle. So when you have a bullish candle that creates an order block right here from 4 a.m. and 5 a.m., this is a big deal for bullish price action. And when the following candle then completely negates that, turning this bullish candle now into an order block, that's a bigger deal compared to these three candles right here. And that's why you're hearing me talk the way I am about it, because it's a big deal. You just created a huge bullish candle that created an hourly order block that was just denied by the next candle. Does that make sense? So when we have that, that's why I'm anticipating lower prices from here. The other option is we consolidate. So to me, this candle speaks one of two things. Either signaling we're going to be moving this way in a big direction, or two, we're going to consolidate in this range right here for a little bit. Those are the two options. So that's why you can't just like take a short here and anticipate that it's going to go to the new day opening gap low, right? You can't do that because it could just be consolidation right now. That's why people will take most of their profits when it hits a specific level and then leave a runner in hopes that it's going to go down here. So you got to anticipate that it may sweep a small level and just pull back inside the range and consolidate for a bit. That's exactly what happened on the lower time frame with midnight open. We hit the midnight open level and all of this aggressive price action, and goes, oh, there's my level. Let's consolidate a little bit right here. We don't know how long it's going to consolidate or how high it wants to go in retracement before it continues, whether it's now or, 4 hours in the future. So there's a little bit of, you have to anticipate to some degree, right? You got to anticipate, let's take profit here in case it wants to bounce. Let's take profit here in case it wants to bounce. And it's this constant test and see. Okay, we dropped here. Let's take profit. It only retraced here and it continues. Great. Oh, dang it. It went higher. I'm out. Yeah, it will consolidate. That was the overall idea behind me considering this breaker right here, was that even though we had this pump right here and yesterday, Monday and Tuesday, were so aggressively bullish that because of the news, I don't think we're just going to trend higher. We're going to go back into the range. And so if I look at where I think it could retrace to, I think this 4 hour, that's really what I'm trying to pay attention to. That 4 hour, and you got this 1 hour right here as well. But I'll probably take a contract off at 231 right here. That's the previous day high. I'll have a level there. And then ultimately the 4 hour, which is not much more, not much lower to be honest with you, which that's at 226. I might just close both of them at that previous day high level because that's a major level. It's the previous day's high. So there's significance to that level, just like midnight open. That was quite the reaction once we hit that level. You know what I mean? Because I do my analysis on NQ, all my trade analysis, everything that I'm researching is on this chart, which is on this time, is this chart here, the Nasdaq NQZ 2025. But all my executions are on the micros, and I don't want to do my analysis on micros. I want to do it on the mini chart. If I was trading minis, then it would all be on here. But I'm not. I'll take one micro off there. I have one runner left. I'm going to leave at the previous day low or the 4 hour fair value gap right now. If we hit and react off of the previous day high level, I'll end up closing that. But right now it's set at 26,225. Thank you, Karen. I'm going to give it one last push. If it doesn't, I'm going to close the trade. We're about the time I want to be done anyway. And I could see it lingering for another 30 minutes if it wanted. If the candle turns green, I'm going to close it. Yeah, we're going to be done right there. All right, so I'm all out there for about 40 handles for the final execution. That's true, MJ. I could totally see that. Now look at that inversion that took place right there. That inversion is like I would have gotten out of the trade altogether if I saw that. That's the inversion I'm talking about. That could easily run to this high or this high or this high. No, all done now. We are closed out of all our trades and we are going to be done for today. Modest win there. That trade alone gave us a little over $300. Okay. Anak, I don't know if you're here earlier or you saw the title of the stream. It says I have a confession to make. I ended up blowing multiple funded accounts yesterday. I went on tilt. So today is all about evals. I'm just taking a break, making sure my mind is back and I'm focused. So that's to fill you in. Yeah, it was I'm like there's no way we can continue to go higher, and we kept going higher. And I went past the point of no return, which I talked about earlier. That point where you're like, you know what, I probably should stop. I should stop. And you don't, then it's like you've went too far. And it's like, the conversation in your head sounds like this. Yeah, I know I should stop, but I'm not. Yeah, I know this is a bad trade, but I'm going to take it. Maybe it will work. I know I shouldn't double my risk, but I'm going to. So that's what happened yesterday. It hurt. Or it will reverse. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. I know. The accounts that I blew paid me out multiple times. It was great. And then now they're gone. There are a few traders, Ken, that I think do a good job at it. It's never easy. I think it's important, though. That's right, Ken. Yeah, the right mindset through it all is so important. That's why the affirmation today was focused on the power of your words. I mean, this is everything. I mean, it goes right in line with what we're talking about. Today I speak life into my thoughts, my work, and my future. My words carry power, so I choose to create with faith, not destroy with fear. It's important that even in the midst of having those failing moments, that they're just moments in time and they don't define who you are or what you're going to achieve. How do we stop that behavior of tilt? TOC, it's not let it happen. To recognize when it happens and avoid getting to that point at all cost. Because once you're in that state, pulling yourself out of it magnifies in difficulty. It is increasingly difficult to pull yourself out when you're in that state. So the key is avoiding actually getting there. No, I don't necessarily keep funded accounts as backup, Jason. I normally trade them all at the same time, or I will say, you know what, I know I'm risking more, so I'll only trade a few of them. And that's what happened this time, is I wasn't trading all of them at the same time, but I was doing a few of them and ended up blowing those. Tim, have you ever been on a win streak and overly confident and what do you do to overcome that? Yes, Tim. There's a couple different thoughts out there on how to handle that. Sometimes taking a small intentional paper cut reminds you that bad things can happen. So taking an intentional loss, very small, doing a micro and taking, losing $60 can be a good psychological reset. Reducing your size when you're feeling that overconfidence is a great precautionary measure. Also, spiritually speaking, rejecting that spirit of pride is extremely important. Renouncing that spirit of greed, renouncing that spirit of pride, and reminding yourself that you have so much further to go and to achieve that you believe God's calling you to do helps bring things in perspective. That's what I've had to do many times, is when I've had multiple green days, I've gotten payouts, and I'm like, wow, this feels great. This is amazing. I'm like, no, I have so much more work to do. And it kind of centers you in reality that this is great, but this is just the beginning. That those things have helped me. It's just a lesson that needed to go one step further from now on. I get into a state of deer in headlights. Yep. That's a good suggestion, MJ. Cognitive behavioral therapy. Yeah, it's not wanting to run any lower. It's kind of making that lower low. This was my concern, is when you get that inversion like we did, is that there's a good chance it's going to make a deeper retracement. My risk management, I have a max loss of $250. If I lose $250 on the day, I locked myself out of my accounts. I did not do that yesterday, for as you obviously know, based on me blowing the accounts. Also, I'll only take 4 trades in a day. That's my goal, is to take 4, or I should say it's more accurately like 4 trades in a session. So I'll come back and I'll look at the charts in the PM session sometimes, and I'll allow myself to take a trade. But in the PM session, I only want it to be 1 trade, because I know that I can't, I don't want to sit in front of the charts all day. I have so much more that I want to do. So like today with being green, that's where being content with what the Lord provided is so important, because there's other stuff I need to get done. And it's so easy to sit in front of the charts more and more and more, longer and longer. And it's just like, just take what the Lord gave you today, receive it with gratitude, and move on and come back the next day. "100% vintage trader. What account size you trading and which firm?" I usually do 50K accounts. I did do 150. I ended up losing that account in the mix of yesterday. I think the main reason why I lost it was the size difference and the contract size difference. I'm just not used to, so I risked more than I should have. And just trying to figure that balance out when I'm so comfortable with the 50Ks. I know how much I should risk. I know what I shouldn't do for the most part. Going to the 150 and having a larger target makes that illusion that I need to risk more appealing. And that ended up causing me to lose that 150K account. It was just an eval. "Real estate market in Omaha is slow." I remember you saying your stomach was bothering you. No, that was just, I think, something that I ate. That was yesterday. Oh, that was 2 days ago, I think I said, right? Was that yesterday or 2 days ago? You're welcome, Karen. I'm glad it's helpful. God bless you. Can you advise on the lot size? Yeah, so max. So for me, it's a little bit different because I'm a little more confident in the trades that I do take. But if I were to not include that, I would say the max number of contracts you should be taking is 5 micros. No more than 5 micros. That's what I took on this trade right here. In some cases, I'll allow myself to double that and go to 10 micros, but no more than 10 micros. I have it written down that I'm not allowed to take more than 10 micros. And my max loss is $250. And the mindset that I think you guys should approach your trades are, and here's the mistake, prop firms know of the psychological issues that are approached when you give profit targets. So they call these challenges to pass your account. But if you think the challenge is to pass the account, but the real test these prop firms are testing is, can you manage yourself? So a more appropriate term for these prop firms would be, hey, join us in the Can You Manage Your Emotions challenge up to $3,000. That would be a more appropriate term. And it signals what you should be focusing on. You should be, can I manage my emotions, my risk, as I earn $3,000? Because your priority should be to manage and protect what you've made. Instead, most traders go like this. All right, I just made $2,000. How much more do I need? Oh, I need 3,000, or I need another 1,000 to hit 3,000. Okay, I'm close. I need to get a little bit more. And then the second thought is, now I have a bigger buffer. All right, now I have, if it's an end of day drawdown, like Take Profit Trader does on their eval accounts, you're gonna go, well, that means I have $4,000 of risk. So you just gave yourself permission to use that risk if needed to be able to make that $1,000. Instead, we should be, I need to protect the money that I made, and I need to have tighter risk management while I'm making that extra 1,000. The psychology in just these challenges can really mess with you to try to do whatever you can to hit your targets. And the problem is that causes people to do irrational things, and prop firms win when that happens. That's why their rules take advantage of us not controlling our emotions. And that's when our accounts. So the test is not about the target. The test is, can you manage yourself in your drawdown as you slowly earn that $3,000 mark? That's how it should be approached. I'm green and getting out for the day. Thank you, Tyler. Listen to your commentary and chatting with others calms me and helps me with my trading. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow. God bless, my friend. I have a $5,000 drawdown, so I only risk 10% per trade. $500. I would have to lose 10 trades without a win to blow the account. And that's the exact approach you should take it. It takes longer. And another psychological issue with prop firms is when you have that target in mind and you take a step backwards or you have a loss, we go, oh, I need to make up for that loss. And part of what happened yesterday for me is I accepted that narrative, and it hurt me dearly. At first, Anon, you're not going to get many payouts at the beginning, but as your buffer builds, you can increase your risk based on your account size. And then ultimately, taking that money, putting it in a personal account, and doing the same thing there and letting that grow even more is more appropriate. All right, folks, I'm done for the day. We're going to call it a day here. We'll be back here tomorrow. I'm hoping to have on Friday some accounts to give away. Today's Wednesday. I'm going to send some messages today to some prop firms to see if I can get a couple accounts to give away to you guys. So I'll be back for that. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys, today. God bless you. If you have any questions, find me on X. Be happy to connect with you. God bless. Bye-bye.